Okay, so we've covered tier 2 and the key points and tiers there that may be of interest to your business. It's also important to have a quick look at some of the other tiers, some of which require a sponsor license and some of which don't. Tier 1 in particular is for high value individuals who are coming to the UK with funds effectively to invest in the UK. Now, this isn't a sponsor-based route, so the migrant worker has to meet the criteria in order to be granted a visa under the tier 1 route. Many of you who may have experience in this route will be aware that it's been limited over recent years, and now the only remaining route for new applicants is the investor category. So under this, an individual coming to the UK must have £2 million in investment funds in regulated financial institution. They get an initial entry for up to 3 years, and the more money you have, the longer you can stay. So for example, if you had £10 million, you might be able to get accelerated settlement after 2 years, and if you've got £5 million, you could get accelerated settlement after 3 years. There are no language or maintenance requirements for this route. It is important to note that this route is being closely monitored because they do feel it's at risk of money laundering. So it's very important to ensure that the individual has the amount of money over the duration of their visa in the UK and that they meet the specific requirements of this route. I'll just briefly touch on tier 4, which won't necessarily be relevant for many of you, but it is relevant in the context of being an employer and employing students. So as you may be aware, students can come to the UK provided they're sponsored by a recognised education provider, and there are very clear restrictions on the process that involves. However, as an employer, you may employ students on a part-time basis during term time or in school holidays. So it's really important to get the appropriate evidence you need to show that they have the right to work within their visa. It may well be a letter from the university, and you'll need to see, in accordance with the appropriate right to work checks, their obligations and rights under the terms of their visa. Tier 5 is worth flagging here. This is a short-term route and there are prescriptive requirements, and it's generally for a period of 12 to 24 months. This is a sort of visa where we do have exchanges with other prescribed countries, so for example Australia or New Zealand, and they send young workers for a period of time who want to go and experience another culture effectively. Now, the reason we're flagging this here is that this may be an area following the cessation of freedom of movement and the new points-based system coming into place. EU workers may actually be able to come through on a similar process if they're recognised. So to get young workers coming in and doing short-term work under this route, watch this space because we don't know if that may or may not happen. Some other routes that have just recently been developed in the last year or so, or even the last month or so, are under what's called Appendix W. There are a number of those, one of which is called Startup. So this is where a migrant worker is seeking to establish a business in the UK for the first time. They have to show that they've got an innovative, viable and scalable business and have a clear business plan that is set out. They also need to have an endorsement from a suitable body in order to apply. So they have to apply to get their business plan in place, contact the endorsing body, which may be a technological organisation or a university. They then need to endorse the business plan, and then the individual can make an application for a visa. Under this route, they could get leave for 2 years, although there's no settlement route, and there are English language and maintenance requirements. In the same way that the startup visa operates, there's then an innovator visa, and this is for more experienced business people. It operates in a very similar way, i.e. it has to be an innovative, viable and scalable business plan, which is endorsed from a suitable body. And in this case, they have to have an actual or available investment of £50,000 in order to obtain this visa. This leads to potentially to settlement and gives people leave of up to 3 years. There are also English language and maintenance requirements here, and this is a very interesting category, which again requires you to do some forward planning, allow the individual to get the endorsement from their endorsing body early doors, and then make the application. There's also a route called Global Talent under this Appendix W, and this is for talented individuals, so leaders or potential leaders in particular areas such as science, engineering, culture and arts, humanities, digital technology. Again, you need an endorsement from a suitable endorsing body, so this could be a Royal Academy, the Arts Council, or approved business governing bodies. Again, the application must have that endorsement in order to be successful, and this allows a leave up to 5 years, but there are no English language or maintenance requirements here. Some additional routes into the UK which may be of interest and are very useful are for those of you who perhaps don't want to apply for a sponsor licence or have a short-term requirement for somebody from an overseas business to come to the UK. Then the route of business visitor, or is now known as a standard visitor, may be a most appropriate route for you. This is where somebody from overseas may need to come to the UK to undertake some sort of training of staff or attend internal meetings with staff or undertake events where there's no money being made. Then this is a potential route that leads up to the ability to stay in the UK for periods of 6 months at a time. The problem with this route is that there are very limited activities that can take place via this route. So for example, depending on which category you go to, individuals aren't permitted to have face-to-face meeting with clients in terms of training. It depends which route they undertake. And it's a very fine balance in trying to get this right. If you come from a country that does require advanced permission to enter the UK, then you would have to apply for this visa before coming to the border. The advantage of this for countries that doesn't affect is that the individual can turn up to the border, ask for this visa, and provided got the relevant evidence in place, they can be granted the visa and the leave at border entry. So it's a really useful visa to have. The key point here is the Home Office wants to know that you're not working in the UK, you're not using this as a way of actually secretly coming and living here for long periods of time. They want to know that you have a job, a life, and you're being paid and are in fact employed in the overseas entity. In terms of another route that may be of interest for organisations that don't have a UK presence, there is a route called Representative of Overseas Businesses. Now this is for a senior person coming to the UK to establish a UK branch or subsidiary of the existing overseas business. So they can't be a major shareholder, majority shareholder, and they must be carrying out the same type of work that the overseas business is carrying out. This has a number of requirements involved in it, but it's very useful if you don't have a UK presence here and want to send somebody over to establish a business in the UK. As you can see, the current system is onerous and prescriptive, costs can be high, and the duty is on the employer to get it right first time. If you're applying for a sponsor licence, we can help with that. But if you're a business in the UK that either doesn't want to apply for a sponsor licence or in fact doesn't have a UK presence at all, again, we can help to get those visas that you may be eligible for or members of your business may be eligible for in the short and long term. If you need help with these, please do let us know because we can assist.